Good morning, students. In the previous class, we were trying to understand the concept of learning along with its meaning and definition and some of the other elements. Like we have studied about the introduction, some of the definition of learning, and again, we have discussed about some of the other elements too, like the nature of learning. Okay. Next, we have discussed about the process of learning. Okay. How learning is to take place. Okay. What is motive, what is goal, and what is a block or hurdle or a disturbance for the attainment of a goal is considered. Next, we have discussed about some of the characteristics of learning, which is very, very important one. Wherein we have studied about some of the aspects, and later we have studied about law of learning. What are the laws of learning was actually initiated by a person called Thorndike. Later it was supported by some other psychologist. Now we shall continue understanding the learning chapter by moving to the next element, that is types of learning. So we used to have different types of learning. We may come across different forms of learning, we can say. One or another way, learning is actually surrounded by every one of us. We need to play the different roles as per learning is considered. So how far learning plays an important role, and how we are actually witnessing or we are experiencing different forms of learning in our day-to-day life, that is the major concern of today's topic. So let us learn about the types of learning today. So the first type that I must discuss with you people is the motor learning, which is the basic type of learning, or which is considered as fundamental type of. So motor learning is somewhat related to physiological that we are actually talking about. So most of our activities in our day-to-day life, that is right from morning till late night when we go to sleep. So till that time, we used to perform different activities. So right from morning, as I said, we may do different activities which are actually required for every one of us. So those all activities somewhat are connected to the abilities which we required for the development of personality, and which we should not come out from it. One or another way, we need the coordination of the motor activities. The individual of the a person, whoever he or she is, they should have to learn the motor activities in order to maintain their regular life. Say for example, right from morning we used to go to bathroom. Okay, the teething, brush, okay, cleaning the hands, okay, cleaning the face, bath, eating the food, performing yogas, pranayamas, or exercises, going for walk. Any activity that you can do, or if you wish to prepare a food, those all activities, or those all forms of elements are to be known as motor activities. The individual has to learn them in order to maintain their regular life. Say for example, walking. So walking, if we wish to go for a walk, we need a very good coordination of all the muscles as well as the abilities that we have physically. So even running, if you wish to skate, okay, if you go for skating, if you are driving any vehicle, so if you are climbing a hill or a mountain, so for these all activities somewhat we required the abilities of motor aspects. So for these all performances, for these all abilities, we required this form of learning called motor learning. So all these activities, walking, running, skating, driving, climbing, or any activity which are usually performed by every individual with the help of the motor abilities, they definitely involve the muscle coordination. When there is a good, if you wish to write some letter or one page of handwriting, there is a need of ability of using your fingers as well as the pen. So that is, if you wish to use the pen, that is the best example for coordination of the muscles. Okay, the finger usage of the fingers. Like that, if you wish to walk, if you wish to go for running, if you wish to go for skating, driving, climbing a mountain, etc., we required badly the need of muscle coordination. Where there is a coordination of the muscles, that form of learning is to be known as motor learning. That is the first type of learning that we used to come across. So whatever we used to depend upon some of the activities which are to be known as motor learning. If I wish to bath myself, I need the coordination of some different parts of my body so that I can perform that activity, or else it is not possible for anybody. So in that connection, motor learning is the basic one. Next is verbal learning, which is again a very important one. This type of learning, as the name itself indicates, it involves the language what we are speaking. Okay, the communication devices that we usually use. So that doesn't mean that only the verbal form. So verbal communication, or verbal type of learning may involves the language that we are using for the day-to-day purpose or day-to-day communication. Like right now, I am teaching the concept of psychology, basic aspects of psychology through the help of English. If you know this language, you can understand what I'm teaching. If I know that language, then and only through that language, I can teach what I wish to convey through the help of this presentation, isn't it? So verbal type of learning involves usually the language what we are using or what we are using for speaking ability. So the communication devices, the other communication devices also comes under verbal form of learning. That doesn't mean only the words are which were written or which were printed. Even sometimes some symbols, signs, that is signals, signs, pictures also, and even symbolic representations, sometimes words, sometimes some figures. Okay, sometimes by listening to some sounds also we'll get some information. So through the help of this process, if I am going to learn something, that process is known as verbal learning. So these are the tools which are used in such activities. Say for example, we am using the language of English so that you are understanding if you know the language. Okay, communication through the help of language, verbal learning is happening. If I do use some of the signals like right, wrong, good, very good, very bad, okay, poor, like that. There are, if there are signals, we have some traffic signals, isn't it? So nobody will come and teach you that what indicates the red color. So whenever we are moving from one place to another, if we have a traffic signal, we will follow as per the signal indicator. Light indication is considered. If there is a red color light, we should have to wait. If there is an yellow color, we should have to ready for moving. If there is a green signal, what we'll do is we'll start moving from that direction. That means there nobody is there, but we are following that signal. So verbally, the type of learning is happening. So through the help of some signals also we may get. Or we used to hear the sound of ambulance right now. Now the pandemic situation, no vehicles are moving, but still we can hear the sound of ambulance or even the police department who are there outside as to control the mob, the public. Okay, to avoid public gatherings, they used to go for announcement and other things. So they use some sounds. Or even in Hubli Dharwad, for the collection of garbage every day, corporation vehicles used to come. So through this, through the help of those sounds only, we'll get some form of learning, verbal learning. Sometimes there are some pictures. Through the help of those pictures only, we'll come to know. Say for example, if there are indications of toilets or seat reservation, reserved seat in bus, train, etc. Based on the pictures of boy or a girl, we'll come to know that these are meant for this. When you go to shopping, if you wish to go for a trial room, you will see the picture which is pasted on the door of the wall. Okay, or the door that you wish to go for. If there is a picture of a boy or a girl, according to that you will follow. So nobody will come you and teach you that you should have to follow, but based on the pictures only you will get an idea. So we get information. We used to learn through the help of verbal form, through the help of language, symbols, pictures, signals, sometimes some words. Do not spit. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಗುಳಬಾರದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ವಾಕ್ಯ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Based on that, ಅಂಗವಿಕಲರಿಗಾಗಿ ಫಾರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಿಕ್ಯಾಪ್, ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಸೀಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಡ್. ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗಾಗಿ ಫಾರ್ ವುಮೆನ್, that means that seat is reserved for women. ಅಂಗವಿಕಲರಿಗಾಗಿ, ಹಿರಿಯರಿಗಾಗಿ, old age people, like that we used to have the words in different form of transportation. So based on that we will come to know. There are some figures too. Let's say for example, what is the ratio of corona in Karnataka, Dharwad district. So based on figures we will come to know. Okay, and by listening to some sounds also we will come to know what is the condition. So By understanding these all elements, these will definitely lead us to get some form of learning through the help of verbally. So that is what the second type of learning. Next is concept learning, which is again very important one. As I said, concept learning is again one of the important aspect of learning, which directly or indirectly even influences for the betterment of other aspects. Like, it is the form of learning which requires higher order mental process like thinking, reasoning, intelligence, etc. So usually when we used to learn something in a life, say for example, concept learning and other things are we are talking about, there what happens is, which is one of the important or high version of learning process. It requires mental abilities like the way how I think, the way how I reason out, the way how do I use my level of intelligence. So these aspects will lead me to get some forms of learning, or I may get some right information about the concept that I am going to learn. So by using my intelligence, by reasoning out, and by thinking ability, I may get the information correctly. So if I am going to get learning, if I am going to learn something through the help of these all processes, then it is to be known as concept learning. We learn different concepts from childhood. Say for example, when we see a dog and attach the term dog, 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 like that, apple, apple, boi, boy, cat, cat, like that we were taught. When we were taught like that, and whenever those examples come to us, that example will be remembered by every one of us. So that form means we will think over it, we will reason out, and we may use the level of our intelligence too. When we see a dog and attach the term dog, we learn that the word dog refers to a particular animal. So concept learning involves two important processes, say, namely abstraction and generalization. So this learning is very, very useful in recognizing as well as identification of the things. Say for example, if I ask you what is mobile, you can immediately give the concept of learning, the concept of mobile based on your experience or knowledge. Okay, you if you are familiar with mobile, you can give the answer. Okay, what is mobile? Okay, how is the display? What are the different brands of mobile? What are the storage capacities of the mobile? What are the features of mobile? Like that you may tell. So if I ask you to say about the concept of mobile, if you are in a position to say those things, what you do is you will recognize the element that you are talking about and you will identify the things. So like that, concept learning usually used to take place. Whenever we used to talk about the concept learning, definitely that will give you the complete and comprehensive information about the subject that you are talking about. So that can be done. Next is the fourth point, that is discrimination learning. So learning definitely made us to, or it will help us to differentiate between when there are two or more choices. So learning to differentiate between stimuli and showing an appropriate response to these stimuli is called discrimination learning. Say for example, the different sounds of the horns. Okay, when we listen to the sound of horn of bus, BMTC, okay, sorry, BRTC, BMTC buses, if we heard, or if you listen to the sound of a railway, or if you are listen to the sound of aeroplane or truck, car, two-wheeler, cycle. So we have varieties of sounds that can be produced. What we are understanding is, so this form of learning is also going to play an important role. Discrimination learning helps you to differentiate between two or more objects when there are choices. So when the stimuli is surrounded by different elements, we are supposed to be, means that will help us to identify or differentiate between these sounds. Though they are all the transportation mediums, like different forms of transportation, bus, car, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, auto rickshaw, and all. But when we are asked to differentiate the sounds, we will immediately, without looking at the picture of the vehicles, we will say, that sound is of truck, this sound is of ambulance, this is the sound of jeep, this is the sound of car, this is the sound of two-wheeler. In that two-wheeler, whether it is Splendor, whether it is Bullet, Royal Enfield, like that, you can differentiate. So discrimination learning will help you to differentiate between two or more things when there are choices. So this form of learning is also there, which also helpful for us to differentiate between the things. It is not related to only the sounds of what I can say, the vehicles, but even if you eat something based on the eating material also, you can differentiate whether it is sweet, whether it is salty, whether it is full of spices and all. Like that, you can discriminate. So anything and everything you can discriminate based on the differentiations. The fifth type of learning is learning of principles. Based on understanding the principle of the concept, we will learn something. Individuals usually learn certain principles related to different subjects like science, maths, grammar, etc. In order to manage their work effectively, we do relate the different subjects with other subjects. These principles always show the relationship between two or more concepts sometime. Say, for example, the different formulas, the laws, or the associations, or even some of the correlations that we used to give. When you're talking about a moral story, you can quote the other moral story to this story, which is already known to them. When you're talking about a formula, or when you are making your students to learn some formulas, you may ask the students to remember some formulas like that. So a plus b whole square equal to, if that is the thing that you are discussing. Meanwhile, an explanation of this principle, you may take the other hand. When you are explaining some laws of science, like first law, second law, third law of Newton, at that time you may use some of the form of principles. So by understanding the principle of that concept, you are going to learn in detail. Okay, or even in grammar also, what is noun, what is pronoun, what is an adjective, what is interjection, what is conjunction, like that you can differentiate, you can understand those all concepts with the help of understanding principles. So when you are asked to write what is noun, you will say noun is a word which is used for understanding or helpful for based on person, place, thing, or animal. So those four elements are usually activated. So when these things are understood through the help of principle, when you are asked to say about pronoun, you will remember, you will try to analyze what is pronoun based on its principles, not the principles of noun. So understanding a concept through the help of some of the principles is very, very essential, which is also very, very important one for us to understand the next element. Next is the problem solving. So which is again helpful for us to get a solution for a problem that we are actually facing. This is a very high order of learning process, you can say. This learning requires the use of cognitive abilities such as ability of thinking, the way how I used to think, the way how I used to reason out, the way how a person used to observe the things, and even the way how we are imagining the elements, how do uh, yes. So thinking, reasoning, observation, imagination, generalization, etc., were usually followed to get a solution. So whenever we have a problem in our life, we do get solution only with the help of the ability of thinking. So if I do like this, I may get the problem. So what are the alternatives? If your bike or a car got punctured in a particular place, you start think over the situation. How do I come out from this situation? You will reason out. Okay, you will call some of your friends. If they are not reachable, again you will observe, yeah, are there anyone who will help you? If not, you will imagine that from my destination, how many kilometers I need to move on as to get the bike or a car need to be punctured, or it should be recovered with the same problem. So generalization, every element you used to use, but that will help you to get a solution for the problem. This is very, very useful for every one of us to get a solution or to overcome the difficult problems which were usually explained or which were usually followed by every one of us in our day-to-day life. Next, the seventh type of learning is attitude learning. This is what purely a psychological form of learning, I can say, isn't it? It is a predisposition which determines and directs our behavior, which is predetermined. How we are, so the attitudes, the attitudes we used to express. So attitude is a predisposition. It is already deposited in our personality. So the way how do I think, the way how do I imagine, the way how we used to work based on that, my attitude definitely matters. And the attitude of every individual usually controls as well as they directs the form of behavior that we used to have. So we used to develop different type of attitude from our childhood only, maybe by the influence of the family member, maybe by the influence of the surrounding people, or the objects that we are meeting, or everything that we know. So we may have the influence of our parents, we may have the influence of the neighbors, we may have the influence of our teachers, we may have the influence of our friends. So anyhow, we used to have some attitudes. Either it may be positive attitude or it may be a negative attitude, but we do have some type of attitude. What type of attitude, that is left to everyone, and it depends upon how we develop our personality. Usually, our behavior may be positive or negative. It is depending upon our attitudes. Say, for example, the attitude of a nurse towards her profession and patients definitely matters. If she really loves the profession that she is doing, definitely she may give justice to the same profession. If by force she is working as a nurse, then she cannot give the justice, or she cannot have the positive attitudes in her profession. So attitude learning is also an important element. So these are some of the forms of learning, you can say. Once again, I would like to highlight them: motor learning, verbal learning, concept learning, discriminative learning, learning of principles, okay, problem solving learning, and finally attitude learning. Now let us move on to the next element, that is what? Factors which influences on learning. The next thing that we need to understand is the factors which are influencing on learning. Which factors influences on learning, that we can see now. Yes. Based on the nature as well as the abilities or the characteristics, you can say the factors were classified into three important categories. Okay. Some factors were called as learner-centered factor. Some factors are related to teacher related, and some of them are content related. So let us see one by one. What are the factors which influences on learning on every individual, which are related to learner? That is what the student centered. So which are the learner related factor which influences the learner? One is what type of physical and mental health I used to have. Okay, the physiological condition as well as the mental status of an individual definitely matters. If physically I am not strong, I cannot listen, I cannot learn properly. Say for example, if you are not feeling good, okay, at that time, if you are asked to learn something, if you are asked to write an examination, there you cannot perform very well because you are not feeling good, physically you are not sound. Okay, if there are mental disturbances, if you quarrel with anybody, if you have some stress, at that time learning will not take place, or learning will not take in a very good form. So physical and mental status of an individual definitely matters for learning. That is the first thing. Next is the potential of the learner also matters. How competent a person is, how or what type of potentials an individual used to have. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯಗಳು ಆತನ ಕಲಿಕೆಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹ ಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಅಂಶಗಳು. If you are weak, if your potential, if you are not competent enough to do that activity, at that time definitely you will not do, or you will not perform in a very good form. So how physical and mental health play an important role, in the same way the potential of the learner also matters for which are to be known as the which influences on learning directly. Next is the level of aspiration and achievement motivation. So what type of motivation I used to have, okay, how aspired I am, how aspirant I am for this particular profession or this post. So based on that also I may get the best result from those all aspects. Next is goal of the life. What type of goal I used to have, whether I am moving in the same direction. I thought of becoming an IAS officer, and I have selected only after SSLC or PUC, I got appointed as FDC or STC. Is that goal that I actually thought of? So everything is to be predetermined. Goal of life also matters on learning. If your goal and the way you are learning is somewhat matching, definitely you will do something, you will achieve something in your life. If your goal is something else and you are doing something other than your goal, then you cannot meet the success in a very effective form or in a very systematic way. So the goal of life also matters. Next is readiness and willpower. So how strong you are and how what type of willpower you used to have towards learning, that also matters. So the physical status of an individual, mental status of an individual, competencies are the potentials of the learner, the type of the aspiration that an individual used to have, the type of achievement motivation an individual used to have towards their goal, okay, and how strong they are, how what type of willpower they used to have, how in what form they are ready to do that activity. So these are the some important elements which matters for the development of learning elements. Okay, that is what there in the first point, which comes under factors. That is what learner related factor. If we talk about teacher related factor, we must not forget the importance of these two. What is that? So what are the factors which influences from teacher's point of view as per learning is considered? One is how the teacher is, that is how fluent the teacher is. Is the teacher mastered in the subject, or he is not comfortable, or she is not comfortable in the subject that he or she is teaching? Whatever type of question I used to ask in the subject, he or she used to give the answer. That means the teacher is usually, that type of teacher is to be known as the master in the subject. So mastery over the subject matter will definitely decide what type of a teacher is. If you have such teachers, you will get every solution for the problem that you are going to meet at the time of learning process, that too related to the subjects. If you have the poor teacher, they cannot give you the justice as per their teaching is considered. Okay, mastery over the subject matter from teacher's point of view is also matter. The way of teaching, the art of teaching, as well as the skill of teaching the teacher is using, whether it is good, whether it is adequate, whether it is okay, whether it is satisfactory, whether it is followed by every learner or not, everything matters. If the teacher is good qualified, or he is highly qualified, but the way or the type of style or the skill of teaching is not comfortable, then it is of no use. Okay, so from that point of view, art or the skill of teaching is also an important aspect which influences from the teacher's point of view. Next is the personality traits and the behavior of the teacher, how teacher behaves in the classroom, how he communicate, how rightly he or she used to correspond as per the learner's positions are considered. Does he understand the problems of the learner, and according to that only he or she used to teach or not, everything matters. So the personality traits as well as the behavior of the teacher also matters from teacher's point of view. Next, the level of adjustment and mental health. If the mental health of the teacher is good, then he can do anything and everything which is required from the student's point of view. If he is mentally retarded, if he is not teaching in a very good form, every day he used to come to the class with a lot many tensions, frustration, conflicts, or stress, then he or she cannot give the best to the learners. So he should have the ability of adjustment to any type of condition, whether it is offline mode or whether it is online mode, whether the condition of the mental health should have to be good. Next is the type of you can say, yes, the type of disciplinary interaction maintained by the teacher also matters. So the teacher should not be too easy, and even he should not be too strict in the classroom. According to the classroom condition, they should have to behave. So these are the points which comes from teacher's point of view. Now the last point that we need to understand under factor is content related factor. After understanding learners related, teachers related, now let us talk about content related factor. So the content of the nature is, the nature of the content or learning experiences also matter. There are three elements. One is nature of the content. Second one is how you are going to select the content, and how do you organize the content. So these are the three important factors which comes under content related factor. So what is the content that you are going to teach, or that you are going to learn from the content point of view? If you are happy with the content, definitely you will learn the thing in a very systematic form. If the content is very difficult, it is difficult. That is nature of the content definitely decide. Next is what type of content you are going to select. After SLC, whether will you go for arts, commerce, science, or diploma, ITA, like that. Selection of content is also matters. That experience that you are going to get. And finally, how do you organize the content after selecting? So which see, like when you used to get a timetable, annual examination timetable, what happens is you used to get some information about the content that you are going to get, isn't it? So you need to organize according to the timetable. First I will study this subject, later I will study the next, after that I will study next. So like that you may have the different classification of content. So learner centered, teacher centered, and content related factors are going to influence on the learning situation.